Hey there, and welcome into another exciting episode of A for Effort, coming to you with another quality movie review. I'm your host, Matt, and as always, we start off giving thanks to our unofficial sponsor, the podcast Movie Pass. $9.95 a month gets you one movie a day at local cinemas in your area. Check MoviePass.com for theater listings and offer availability. In today's episode, we're going to break down one of my most anticipated for the year, and that is Ant-Man and the Wasp, the sequel to the 2015 hit Ant-Man. Director Peyton Reed returns to direct the sequel, and in surprising fashion, it is the first time in any of the 20 Marvel movies that preceded it that a female superhero gets title credits. That's right, the Wasp is the first female superhero to get a title credit in a Marvel movie, and she lived up to the billing. In fact, I'll go as far as to say this was a Wasp movie featuring Ant-Man, because she was the star front and center, and she was absolutely amazing. This movie returns all of its stars: Paul Rudd as the title character Ant-Man, Scott Lang. Evangeline Lilly steps out of the shadows of Ant-Man in the first movie and becomes the Wasp. Michael Douglas returns as Hank Pym. Michael Pena returns as Louise. David Dastmalchian and Tip T.I. Harris come back as the con men friends of Scott and Louise. Judy Greer, Bobby Cannavale, and Abby Ryder Fortson comes back as his daughter Cassie. The new cast is just outstanding. They did a great job putting together a cast for the sequel, which includes Walton Goggins, Lawrence Fishburne, Randall Park, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Hannah John Kamen. Right off the top, before we break into this, I'm just going to say spoilers. If you have not seen Infinity War, if you have not seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, turn this off right now. You've been warned. We're going in deep. Please don't listen to this without having seen those two movies. I love this movie. I truly did. It was an absolutely wonderful film. It takes what the first one did, which was tell a small, family-driven story, and just expanded upon it. What I loved about the first Ant-Man is most superhero movies have life-altering, world-changing events that take over the third act. And the first Ant-Man movie was so simple. Yes, we had the heist portion in the second act, start of the third, but the finale took place in his daughter's bedroom to protect his daughter, and that was a small, so personal story. And this one is the same. It is not coming off of Infinity War. How could the stakes get any higher? And for the stakes to go low again in an Ant-Man movie, because it's in the title, man. He's a small hero, right? And the small stories that surround him are actually fitting for the character. I really think that this is okay for the Marvel brand to not always have to be world-altering events. The events of this movie are, after the first one, Ant-Man had traveled to the quantum realm and came back. And so Hank and Hope are trying to get their mother/wife back from the quantum realm, and she's been in there for 30 years. And they have spent the last 3 years trying to get her out of the quantum realm. Scott's on house arrest after the events of Civil War, and that's where the movie picks up. It does a lot of great setup for things to come, as well as completing what's going on prior to Infinity War. What I loved is I think this movie takes place either right before Infinity War or simultaneously with Infinity War, and it's the reason why he is not in that movie. And that's okay. The movie was bloated with characters, and it's a good thing, but the fact that Scott and Hope were allowed to have their own small story was absolutely incredible. Like I said, it's a Wasp movie featuring Ant-Man, and she kills it. She has an action sequence right off the top about 10 minutes in to just show how badass she really is. The whole first movie is set up that she is a better Ant-Man than he is, and the whole reason why he's Ant-Man is because he's expendable and she's not. And I think that's a really clever way to set it up in the sequel, where again, she's a much better hero than he is, but she needs him as much as he needs her. And it's a wonderful, small family story about what it takes to look out for one another. I love the setup this movie did for sequels to come, for cameos in the past. One of the things I love the most is this whole story they kept building with his daughter Cassie, that she wants to be his partner, she wants to be a superhero. And spoilers, man, she does become a superhero in the comic books later on down the road, so they're setting that up now for a legacy character. They have done this so well of setting up great legacy characters. I know in my heart of hearts that Bucky or or Falcon are going to take over for Captain America after Avengers 4. I don't know what they're going to do with the Iron Man character, but they've set up Shuri to take over for a Black Panther when he's done. They've laid the seeds for Miles Morales and Spider-Man. They've done such a great job. They introduced Mama Cho and Age of Ultron, letting you know that there's a chance that Amadeus is out there somewhere to take over for the Hulk one day. They've done a great job of setting up legacy characters that can build upon. One of the things that I just recently found out, I'm not a huge Ant-Man guy prior to these two movies, so there was a cameo in this movie that people were shocked that happened, and it's by the character of Egghead, and it was a shocker to me after having seen it the first time and seeing it the second time. When you catch it, it's like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. What a wonderful, wonderful little cameo by that character who was a Ant-Man villain for years in the comic books. I loved the villain that they had set up in this movie, played by Hannah John Kamen as the Ghost. Seeing this particular type of villain who can phase in and out of reality through walls, rooms, like against the size changing characters of Ant-Man and the Wasp were really, really cool, because we've had the movies like Iron Man 1, Cap 1, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, where it's Iron Man on Iron Man, it's Captain America v Red Skull, it's Ant-Man versus Yellow Jacket, Doctor Strange versus Caecilius, Black Panther versus Killmonger. Like, these are all, like the mirror image of each other. We've had those, right? But I love when they take it to the next level and introduce a villain that is different from the character, that can really challenge the character. And this was one of those villains that it challenged the characters because they didn't know how to stop this character. And I love the side play with the comedy aspect. David Dastmalchian calls her the Baba Yaga throughout the movie, and it's one of those like comedy beats that just sells it. Comedy in general in this movie is absolutely incredible. They come back to the same Louise bit that they had in the first movie where he tells a story. Absolutely wonderful stuff. The last thing I'm going to talk about before I score this movie is the post-credit scene. And again, spoilers, please, if you have not seen these movies, don't let me spoil it for you. Get out, see this movie. But damn it, if that post-credit scene was the most amazing thing. After the movie's said and done and they've retrieved Janet Van Dyne, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, from the quantum realm, they are trying to save the Ghost because she is basically, her molecules are split from quantum energy, and that's why she phases in and out. They're trying to save her life by getting quantum energy from the quantum realm. And by the way, they make fun of the fact that everything has to do with quantum this, quantum that, which I think is hilarious. Paul Rudd has a line where he straight up makes fun of it. So it's kind of cool that they yes, they're saying it in front of everything in this movie, and it's kind of hard to follow because, quantum this and quantum that and quantum entanglement and quantum physics and all this stuff, and he makes fun of it and says something like, do you guys just put quantum in front of everything? And it's a hilarious line because it's how we as regular moviegoers probably feel, and he gets to have that line. So they're trying to save her life by going into the quantum realm, taking out quantum energy and bringing it back to give to her. So Scott goes into the quantum realm, he's filling up this canister full of quantum energy, and he's like, alright guys, I got all we need, pull me back. And they're not responding to him. They've been talking through the whole scene, him and Hope and Hank, and he's like, guys, pull me back, guys, pull me back. And the camera pans out to real time, and they have been snapped away. They have been dusted by the snap of Thanos. All three of them, Janet, Hank, and Hope. And it's just that, like, oh my god moment. Like, they all were taken by the snap, and now Scott's stuck in the quantum realm. Janet has an interesting line prior to him actually entering the quantum realm that, don't go too deep into the quantum realm or you'll end up in a time vortex. And I wondered to myself, is that going to be part of the plot to Avengers 4? But one of the other things I loved about the post-credits was, after it's all said and done, the final one is it's got like a double meaning, where it's like it's a post-snap world where it's quiet, there's a emergency broadcasting signal blaring in the background, and there's an ant playing on the drums. And I know it's meant to be a little bit comedic, but it's also meant to show you the post-snap world that we now live in. But it says Ant-Man and the Wasp will return, just like any other Marvel movie has ever done. And then right before it goes away, the period at the end of the sentence becomes a question mark. And it's just a shocker. And Marvel is just killing it. This is movie number 20. They keep knocking it out of the park. The box office numbers for this movie was was 80 million for week 1. I think it's a wonderful movie, and for that it gets an A++. It's right there on level with a lot of the other Marvel movies I've seen, not just this year but previous years. It's one of the better sequels. I was gonna give it a higher score than Black Panther, but it's hard to judge Black Panther and this on an equal scale because Black Panther was so different, and this is a sequel, and we've already been with these characters before, so it gets an A++. I don't feel Marvel fatigue. I don't feel the superhero fatigue that everyone is clamoring about. They're like, oh, this movie only made 80 million. Is that superhero fatigue? No, because it's a smaller movie that not everyone might want to see. It's not a Black Panther that was culturally relevant. It's not Spider-Man, everyone's favorite Marvel character. It's not Infinity War that is the culmination of all things. Ant-Man is one of their smaller branches, like the Doctor Stranges, like the first Guardians before Guardians took off, like a Thor. These movies are meant to be smaller. They're meant to be the side stories to the main story. It was a wonderful little story that they told. It was a small story, and I love that Marvel can do these big ones and then come back and do these small ones. I'm so excited to see where we go next with both Ant-Man and a setup for a third movie in this trilogy, or in this franchise, and also Captain Marvel in March. I know we've got a long way to go. I keep a countdown on the way to Avengers 4, and we have 301 days until that movie comes out. It feels like forever, but it'll be here faster than you know. This movie, again, gets an A++ from A for Effort. Check out all the rest of our videos. We have 2 different videos for Avengers Infinity War. We have a review of Black Panther. I just did the mid-year awards where I praised Avengers Infinity War as well as Thor, Chris Hemsworth for a scene in Infinity War. Like I said, check out all the rest of the videos. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Did you like Ant-Man and the Wasp as much as I did? Come back to us next time on another episode of A for F, where I will have another quality movie review.